Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, your host, and today I'm here with Cailen Ascher. And we are going to talk about how to work while the kids are in school, because that's something that we all don't get to do. And I love that Cailen does that. And in addition to that, we're going to talk about our identity and our strategy for business. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Charisse. So, hi everyone. I'm Cailen. I am a business coach. I've been in the coaching space for the last 10 years. Prior to that, sort of a serial entrepreneur. I started an interior design company. I studied and taught yoga. And so it's always been really important to me for all of my adult life to have work that felt joyful and meaningful, and also to have a schedule that felt supportive of my season of life. I've got an 11-year-old and 9-year-old daughters. And so as I stepped into motherhood over a decade ago, that was a huge factor of really thinking about what was the schedule that felt most supportive for me, what also would work for my coaching business. And honestly, in the beginning, it was a bit of an experiment, but it's been really a beautiful journey. And then in the process of doing that, I've been able to work with so many women as clients to really help them step into the work that they feel most called to do, but do it in a self-honoring way.
I love that. And I think, first of all, to be able to make the decision that, you know what, I'm only going to work while my kids are away is a huge feat because we all don't get to do that. A good example yesterday, I was gone. We're trying to finish this house and it's become a nightmare. And so, you're there till 2 in the morning. I don't get to put my kids to bed. And that's something that the guilt sometimes as a mom. And so, how do you help women be able to balance their schedule better?
Yeah. So I think first off, I mean, I work with women who are entrepreneurs like yourselves. In that, we started these businesses. I like to remind people we started these businesses because we wanted to have time freedom and creative freedom and financial freedom. And yet we often hit a point where we sort of feel backed into a corner. We're like, this business is running me. I feel like I'm at the mercy of my client schedule, my content creation schedule, all of those moving pieces. And so, what I think it really requires is getting really honest with yourself about the vision you had back when you started your business. And I'm assuming it did not include working crazy hours that took you away from your family, from the people that matter most to you, from the things that nourish you beyond the work itself. And so when we reconnect to that intention and that vision within ourselves and really remember, yes, how important it is, but that if we ourselves are not taking care of our human body and our energetic body, that we're not going to be able to show up for the big work and the big vision that we've intended when we started these businesses in the first place. So it's sort of that truth moment. And when we hit that and we realize, oh, actually, what I'm doing is sort of out of integrity, my intention for this business, the work I truly want to be doing, it becomes easier to start feeling into what are some adjustments we can make. And for me, when my daughters were babies, I was able to have childcare 3 days a week. So my work schedule looked like a 3-day work week. I worked from 9 to 4, so Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Now that they're in school, my work schedule reflects that. So evaluating the season of life you're in, and if you're currently working an 80-hour week, it might not be feasible to cut down to 3 days, but where can we start making intentional choices and shifting in the direction to align a bit more with what would feel truly good?
I 100% agree with that. And I think this podcast, we talk about tips to help us get through motherhood as an entrepreneur. And I think that sometimes when you have a business like mine, it's morphed into something that I had not seen, which is good. But now it's like, okay, you know what? We got to put some boundaries on this again. And so I think that that's something that your business is constantly evolving as you are, and you have to stay true. And so a good example is hiring an assistant. Like that's what I'm doing, and making sure that this isn't work that I should be doing. It's not using my time well and my talents, and it's busy work, and it's costing me a lot more than, getting help. And so that's something that I know a lot of people sometimes they struggle with. And I've had the assistant before, and they've had to leave for whatever reason, or I've let them go. And so I think that just being true to yourself, like you talked about, is so important.
Yes. And often it takes a leap of faith in the beginning. When I was a new mom and trying to, or it was in the early days of my coaching business. And then suddenly I'm like, you know what would work for me? A 3-day work week. It like didn't add up on paper. People didn't understand that decision. But by committing to that, by honoring that, and being an example of that, that led me within the year. I had my first 6-figure year in business because I believe I made a choice that was in true alignment with myself. I was modeling it with integrity. And people could feel that. And so my soulmate clients were responding to what I was modeling in real time as I navigated motherhood and my business and, getting clients and all of those things. And so I think it's really important to do your best to make decisions that feel right for you and own them instead of being apologetic or feeling guilty about it. Well, I'm going to take Friday afternoons off so I can go grab a coffee before I pick my kids up from school. It's like we might, in theory, feel like, oh, that's a selfish choice. But if that helps you to decompress, helps you to release all the stress from the work week, gives you this little moment to yourself before you step into mom mode, that might be the best reset you could possibly give yourself. And I loved how you mentioned hiring an assistant because as women, I mean, the women I work with are so capable, right? They're so capable. You give them like an hour of time, they move mountains. But at the same time, it isn't, if we're not operating in our zone of genius and our zone of magic, we're often wasting our time and spending more time on things than we need to. For me, the first hire I made in service of my business was a house cleaner. Cause I'm like, I don't love this task. I am not like one of those people who's like looking up all the cool cleaning tricks on like Instagram or whatever. Like this is not my zone. I get zero pleasure out of it. And it's taking hours and hours and hours of my time. When I have childcare, I'm here cleaning the house instead of working on my business. And so making that decision felt so empowering. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get 3-4 hours back. And I'm also supporting another woman in her business. And that just that felt really like really wealthy in the best sense of like, look at what I'm able to provide for her. Look what I'm able to provide for my family. And I get to do the work that I love. And that time is better spent on those efforts.
See, I preach that, but I am not good at that. Like, do as I say, not as I do. And so, how do you help the women get over that? Because that's how many hundreds of dollars, or that's this much. And I think of it and I'm like, okay, wait a second. How much money do I make an hour versus how much am I going to pay this person? It is not worth it. But I know that there's women listening to this podcast that are just like, I can't do that. I can do it all. And speaking to that woman who's on the other side, like, I am tired. I'm swamped and I cannot keep up. And now my performance is being affected. Those women that are saying that, what do you say to them?
Well, first of all, help doesn't always have to come at a monetary cost. This might be asking a partner to help out differently. Maybe you have, I mean, I'm fortunate I have parents nearby who don't work anymore and they helped with my kids when they were younger. Maybe if you have older children, they could be helping out more around the house or whatever those tasks are that are taking you away. So that's always an option. But when it comes to truly hiring help for your business, what made the decision so much easier because I dragged my feet around hiring a VA for so long. I'm like, I know my systems. I don't know if I can trust someone to handle it the way I would handle it. And there's like control issues there. So what I sat down and I listed out all the tasks of my business. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to brain dump everything that crosses my plate in a given week, all of the things that need to be handled. And then I started looking at them and ranking them. What do I enjoy on like a scale of like 1 to 10, of like 1, I hate it, 10, I love it. And what am I actually good at? And I was like circling the things I'm actually good at. And so I started to see, where am I overlapping with the things I enjoy, like a 6, 7 or greater, and the things I'm actually good at that were circled. It was just a subset of that very long list. And then on the other side, I saw very clearly the stuff that I'm not good at and I absolutely hate. I'm like, this would be easier stuff for me to offload to a VA, to a virtual assistant. And I started really small. I think I had someone for like 10 hours a month, like just
Oh,
a
wow.
couple hours a week. She stepped in. She was like a fractional person for several people. I'm like, I just need you for like 2, 3 hours a week to help me like manage the inbox and maybe schedule a couple emails. And that was so wonderful because it got me 2, 3 hours a week back. It
Mhm.
wasn't super expensive. And it helped me build that trust with her as she was learning my business before, you know, hiring someone on retainer for 500, 1,000, $1,500 a month, which is a big investment. And I get that. It's not easy to say yes to that right out the gate.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Okay, so you have a four-step process, which I'm going to cheat. The first one is collapsing time through identity, which we've talked about. And then if you want to add more, we can. And then the second step is identity first and strategy. So I feel like we've talked about that, identifying who you are, what you want to do. Then the third one is shift to the self-led business. And so can you expand on that one?
Absolutely. So, something I help my clients do, my mission is for them to put themselves, what I often say is like their soul, back at the center of their business. Because the business coaching industry, if you are inundated on Instagram like I am with all of the like one way you're supposed to fix your business, it honestly wants you to stay in this cycle of feeling broken and feeling less than, because you buy when you were in that place. You were always looking for the next strategy, the next coach, the next certification, the next course. And so when I work with a client, it's really about coming back to your center of power. And so that's why I use the term self led, that your highest self within you is leading the decisions. You're not at the mercy of what you see externally. They're tempting you to move in this new direction, that's shiny object syndrome, but rather you are so anchored in the vision for your business, in the people that you want to help, in the mission that you are here to steward, that you become very clear and decisive about what is for you, what is not for you, what makes sense, what is not a priority. And when we're operating from that place, we're so much more effective and efficient because we're aligned, our gifts, we're aligned with our power, we're aligned with our truth. We become so much more magnetic because we're just resting in this easy confidence of like, this is who I am, this is the work that I do, this is how I help people. And when stuff comes at us, like, you should start a membership. And we're like, oh, maybe I should do that. And from that place of panic, we might invest in a course and go down that path for 60 days and then realize it's a distraction because we have an email list of 75 people and we're not going to be able to fill a membership. We instead say, hey, I'm going to stay true to my path and continue on prioritizing visibility or whatever it was that you had set for yourself, and focus on that rather than feeling pulled off and distracted. And when we're anchored there, then our offers and our marketing and our messaging and our structures and our systems and our team all become this really beautiful extension and reflection of our highest self, rather than being this sort of like mishmashed Frankenstein business that we've pieced together from all of these things we've kind of gathered over the years trying to fix our business, or underneath that, this kind of energy of needing to fix ourselves.
I had a conversation with someone yesterday. I met him. So one of my 12,000 things that I do, I was on a call and he was passing through. I was helping to underwrite this multi-million-dollar deal, right? And so he tells me where he's at. I'm like, okay, I'm like 20 minutes from you. how about we just meet? And he's like, yeah, that'd be great. So we end up getting together, we meet and we're talking. He's part of a group that I'm not part of because I'm a part of a different group. He was telling me how he just got done at this meetup and all these people, like you had this person where they spent 25 or $30,000 for this program, right? So they're all there. And then there's this person within that group that's like, you got to work on mindset. And he's charging people another 25, 30, $10,000. And people are like, I got to have mindset. And so they're paying for that. And he's like, if people were just focused, and I know so many people. So if this is you, my listener, that like it's the shiny object syndrome. Oh, I need that. And so they're going to pay. Oh, I need that. And before you know it, you've bought 6 programs. There's no way you're going to be able to do all 6 programs, speaking from experience. And so you have to make sure that you focus, like you said, and let's just focus on this and give it time to grow. And if it doesn't work after whatever time that program lasts for, then okay, try something else or go get help from someone else. But I think also when you're hiring a coach, like you've been in the business 10 years. Obviously, you know what you're doing because you've been in the business for 10 years. I know people that, like, if you're going to pay $25,000 for a coach, and this is the first time they're just starting out and you're the first program, like, I probably wouldn't pay the $25,000. And so making sure that you know who you're hiring and that they're experienced in what they're doing. And if they're not experienced, that's okay, but they shouldn't be charging a full price.
Yeah. Yeah, so well said. It's yes, and I love that you made the point of it's not about not getting support because I think I wouldn't be a coach if I didn't think there was a place for this, but it's about being really discerning and self-honoring in the choices and the investments that you're making so that you're not getting distracted from like a fear or lack place, but you're deciding to invest from a place of this is something I'm really interested in. This is something that I really want for my business. This is something that's going to hold me accountable. This is a container I want to be inside of or a part of. That's a very different decision than like, oh my gosh, my business is lacking and I'm never going to get clients unless I invest this $5,000 in this mindset program, like you said, because and maybe it works beautifully for some people, but if you're making those buying decisions again and again and again from that place of lack and scarcity, that's the cycle that's going to perpetuate. And when you're not seeing results in 30 days from that mindset program, there's going to be something else that pops up that you're like, oh, this instead. And it keeps us really stuck because we're constantly in the energy of, I'm trying to make my business work. I'm trying to get clients. I'm trying to make money instead of my business is working and clients are coming in and money is flowing and just resting in that and owning that. Like maybe even before it shows up 100%, but just like really like feeling the energy of like, this is working for me. This is working.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so the number 4 is building a business that matches your 5-year vision. And,
Mhm.
I don't like 5 years goes really quickly. I've been doing this one project specifically for 5 years, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that really flew by." And so, what's your advice to women where they might not be thinking about that because it seems so far away, but I promise you it is not.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who has children, you know how quickly 5 years goes, right? It's like it jumps by. So what I have always encouraged my clients to do is really feel into beyond the business. What is the movement that I am here to lead? And I know sometimes when you hear the word movement, it's like you're thinking millions of people. Some of you might have a vision that includes impacting millions of lives. Other people, it might be hundreds or 50 or thousands, right? The number doesn't matter so much, but what the felt sense is something bigger than just getting clients and making money. Like, why do you have your business? Why does this work feel so important to you? Why is this message something that you want to share again and again and again? And when we tap into that and really allow ourselves to feel the bigness of that, its fullest form that we can imagine, that I mean, for most of us, that feels really good. Of like, my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if my work reached tens of thousands of lives and I was speaking on stages and I had a best-selling book and people were DMing me and emailing me saying how much my work changed their lives, right? Like that type of energy feels really good. That's the 5-year vision. It doesn't have to be super, super specific, but just get some felt notes of it because when you go to that place, it lifts you immediately out of the day to day, month to month struggle. You are no longer, even if it's just for 10 minutes in the morning, when you think about it, you're not in the like grinding for clients and hustling for cash and that type of business energy that we can find ourselves in sometimes. It's totally normal at moments in our business, whether you're new or established, like there are dips and ebbs and flows and all of those things. So that's totally normal. But when you're being really intentional about like coming back to that vision, coming back to that vision makes you make different decisions. And so instead of being like, oh, I feel really bummed out about my business today, and kind of just like cleaning up your inbox and like doing a bunch of like behind the scenes admin stuff. If you're like, okay, I'm resetting, tapping into my vision, into that movement I'm here to lead, then suddenly you feel more amped up to be like, you know what? I'm going to pitch those 5 podcasts that I did research on yesterday. And I'm going to do an Instagram reel or an Instagram story. And I'm going to connect with that person who reached out. You feel more equipped to be the person who is becoming the person to lead that movement than if you're just in that constant like struggle bus mode.
So I was at the conference last week, and the question that was there that she posed was, "Does it move the will?" Because if everything that you're doing, if this is your end goal, because you want, you know your 5-year goal where you want to be, then it's easy to say on a daily basis, "Is this moving my will?" And if it's not, then it's kind of time to get off the wagon and get on another one, right? And so that your will does move. And so I think that that's the thing that it's so easy to get so distracted. And that's if your end goal is this, then what are you doing every single day? And if it doesn't align and it's taking a lot of time, maybe you need to pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, because anyone I mean that I've encountered or worked with, success isn't random and it doesn't arrive if you're never feeling the threads of success along the way. If you're in a place of fear and lack and concern and worry constantly, you're not ever aligned with, you're never on the path of the success that you desire. And it's not that you have to feel that way 100% of the time, not at all. When you really hold that vision, it does help you to make those determining choices of if that's where I want to go, then I've got to step in this direction rather than having no target whatsoever and just making it up day to day as you go based on how you happen to be feeling in the moment.
Mhm.
Because success really comes down to a decision and then actions in alignment with that decision. It's not random, it's not luck. Um, it's about that focused, aligned action. And this isn't about like hustle, hustle, hustle all the time. I would rather you take one aligned action per day than 50 like frantic actions every day. That's going to move you much more sustainably, like the tortoise and the hare
Mhm.
analogy, right?
Well, and that's something, again, this is an amazing conference, but what are you doing every single day to move the needle? And that means you have to do prospecting of some sort, whatever that may be that you're comfortable with doing and maybe not comfortable with doing. You have to prospect every day to be able to get the business in the pipeline. Like I'm in a service based business. And so if I don't have a pipeline of people, guess what? Eventually it goes away.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, let's switch gears real quick. As a mother, what do you wish you would have known that you know now about being
Mhm.
a mother? That advice you could give a new mom?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I think I would, if I could go back and like talk to myself
Yeah.
12 years ago, I'm
Mhm.
pregnant, expecting her first baby, it would be to just go easy on yourself. Don't be so hard about being the perfect mom, but rather figure out my version of being a mom, which I feel like I'm doing much better these days. Like the ages my girls are, I have a lot of fun with them.
Fun.
But I think it's also because I've given myself permission to mother in a way that feels right for me. I remember I had so much guilt for a while of not being involved with the PTO, the PTA, like the school organizations. And it was because I have a business. And so I mean, I love volunteering at like different school functions and going in for class parties, but I'm like, I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to like be the chairperson of something for the school. And I remember for years, I was like racked with guilt, like I should be doing this. And then I realized, you know what? I show up for my girls in so many ways. And I'm also modeling how a woman can build a business from scratch, do work she loves, make millions of dollars along the way. Like I'm modeling something that other kids don't have access to. And that's not to say it's better or worse, it's just different. And to just be okay with that, be okay with it being different, being okay with being the mom that I am and the way, and hopefully it's exactly who my girls need. And that's why we're here together.
No, fantastic advice. And I think you can't compare yourself to somebody else. And your girls think that you're the best mom on this planet and you're doing what you need for them. And so I think that that's the part, that making sure that you do spend time with them, you have the relationship with them, and that they know that you're there if they need you. So that's my advice. Well, thank you. Well, if our audience wanted to get a hold of you, say they're listening to this going, okay, I do need some help with my business, how would they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got an amazing free training, really shows you, it goes deeper into the frameworks we were talking about today, about that sort of self-led business, centering yourself at the middle of your business plan. And you can find that over at cailenascher.com/shift. And then also my favorite social media platform right now is Instagram. So if you want to connect, let me know your takeaway from this. If you have questions, I'm Cailen.Ascher over on Instagram.
Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Charisse.
And moms and unbreakable moms. I hope that you listened and took some things away. What I took away was definitely making sure that you are one with yourself and you're honest with yourself. And if you need to pivot, go ahead and pivot, but just making sure that you have that vision and you know where you're going and the decisions that you're making are aligned with that vision. So go out and make it a great day. And if you like this, please subscribe and share. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.